Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, 16th of June, 2021. Welcome to Hindsight episode 16, where we learn to be a better trader. We're going to take a look at the trades that I've taken in hindsight, what could have been done better, as well as any opportunities that were missed. Now, I'm going to focus a little bit on yesterday as well. There was a trade on GED. Now, this was a copper announcement that came out. Now, we're talking like 12 mil market cap when it opened up, maybe 13 mil. Really low market cap. High shares on issue, so 850 mil. It's not that bad. It's on the brink of being bad, but it was trading like it had 2.5 billion shares on issue. The order book was fat, and there were huge reloads. And you can see that just based on the volumes that were churned, that this stock tends to not really move even on massive volumes. So a real unfortunate event, losing a tick on this one yesterday. One break even and one loss trade on this one. So just to talk you through the fundamentals on this one, this was, I believe, a mid-grade 1.4, 1.5% average copper hit, which is great. The market loves copper. Like, we've seen moves well above expectations, basically, for high-grade copper. So this is mid-grade. I haven't really seen too many mid-grade hits, but I thought much of a muchness, really, expecting the same kind of result, especially for a cheap market cap of $10 million, $12 million. So the thing I didn't notice was this had also options that were expiring, I believe, at the end of this month. So 2 weeks till expiry, 430 million options, right? At 1.5 cents expiry price. And of course, you can see where all the action was at 1.5. The stock didn't do too well. Huge selling pressure, monstrous volumes. I wasn't expecting it. All right, if I bring up the daily chart, I did end up taking 1.5 on match and selling it at 1.4, and took it at 1.5 when I saw this volume bounce here, and ended up selling it at 1.5 because it just didn't end up moving. So real unfortunate. Zooming in on the daily, I had really decent levels of conviction that this was at least, at the absolute very least, going to hit 1.7 cents here on this target here, and it barely touched 1.6. I don't think it even line wiped 1.6. So 2.2 was my target here, well below the resistance level, and I thought, yeah, very high conviction again. I wasn't expecting the options potentially holding it down. Like, it's still fundamentally the drill sounds good. Like, the drill results sound pretty decent. Still kind of scratching my head about this one, and it all comes down to the order book. And just look, if someone wants out, they want out. The price just isn't going to move if they're bailing out tens, if not hundreds of millions of shares. So it is what it is. I'm not quite sure what could have been done better there. I guess, historically, looking at price action and how much it moves, or rather the lack of movement based on volume as well, probably should have been a better indicator what to expect for this one. But I was kind of hell-bent in this idea that copper's hot. The stock has released decent copper hits for a 10 mil market cap. So in my head, every day of the week, I'm looking at this, I'm going, right, it's based for like 6 months, which is fine. It's actually really good for a breakout. And then it just kind of flops and fails. Now, I can sort of pass this off as an anomaly and go, oh, well, that sucks. What are you going to do? And I'm kind of left scratching my head and thinking that's actually what I'm going to be doing on this one. I really don't know how to assess the fact that this actually sold off. It's kind of making me question my understanding of copper results. Does the market not care about mid-grade copper? It was shallow as well, decent intersect, mid-grade. We've seen gold. We've seen visual cores 800 meters deep absolutely fly to fucking 100 mil market cap. And yet confirmed shallow mid-grade and decent intersects sitting at 12 mil market cap. Like, there's a bit of discrepancy there, right? Even if that visual core ends up being, it's like 3% copper or something, maybe 5%, it's still 800 fucking meters deep. So there's a bit of confusion there for me, fundamentally. Perhaps it's just a stock-specific thing. I'm not too sure. So I'm not going to ramble on too much about that one. We're going to look at EMN. This was a next investor pump. So I've got a bot in public Discord. For those of you who aren't in public Discord, there's a bot that can tag you for any next investor news. It scans both the website and emails for a stock ticker that is mentioned. So sometimes the email comes first, sometimes the website comes first. So the bot will update irrespective of which one comes out first. And so I caught this one for 1 cent because I didn't really know how much volumes were coming in. Wasn't expecting huge movement here above the 60. That kind of just came in unexpectedly. Ended up taking 1 cent on the way up And then front side shorted here. I took multiple positions, 60.5, 61, 61.5. I just spammed the sell button here. And the idea was for it to come crumbling down. Now this happened a lot slower than I expected. I was expecting, to really come off by lunchtime or maybe late lunchtime, 2 o'clock. But it ended up coming up all the way down to close, basically. So I did end up closing out majority of my position for EMN and held a little bit overnight, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is. We're going to take a look at PAB. This, so if we go back to the daily chart here, this rallied, and this could have been a technical breakout on this horizontal here. Breakout yesterday, but it's a little bit suspicious when news comes out today. We've already got a rally that's up something like 20% on this green candle here, and then up, how much was that? 20% extra, so from 41 to 48. Yeah, that's about 20% extra on the gap up. So if we zoom out, this one I ended up taking at 4.7, more by mistake than anything else, but a happy mistake nonetheless. I was actually looking to match this one. I left my order in and fumbled it a little bit. Long story short, it was trying to get out before the 50 wall. There was a huge wall on the 50. So yeah, get out at 49, realized it could be shorted. So waited for it to swing back to the upside and shorted it again below the 50. There was high volumes holding it down. There was no interest in this stock to push beyond the 50, irrespective of the news. It sounds really good, survivability rates for brain tumors or brain cancer, or whatever it was. So it's pretty decent. Fundamentally, it sounds fantastic, but ultimately the market took it down. My target was 4.1 on the short initially, but I really was just chasing ticks. What I didn't want was this to swing back to the upside, but start ranging here, and then to swing back to the upside or something like that. So I was happy to take just a couple of ticks on a downswing. It is what it is. I'm still happy. Still got 2 ticks to the upside, 2 ticks to the downside, and that's all she wrote. I mean, I probably could have held a little bit longer down to 4.1. Didn't actually see that this closed at 3.9. So interesting to see. But it is what it is. When it comes down to biomedical news, especially when there's a big breakout the day beforehand, you're pumping 20%, it's a little suspicious. And then you got a 20% gap up on top. And really what you're looking at was a stock that was 33 gapped up to 48 effectively. Like, that's a huge move in just 2 days for a biomed stock. So, I guess there were some targets here, horizontals here, but I didn't actually pay attention to those. So it is what it is. Happy with the trade that was made. I really was just chasing ticks, just like LIO today. So they brought out some announcement of a 120% increase in something. Look, I'm not one for reading this kind of garbage news, especially for a micro cap. Didn't really care. All I knew is that just because it's a 120% increase doesn't mean this will go from 5.5 cents to 10 cents, right? It doesn't mean that 100% resource, 120% increase in resource will translate to 120% increase in share price. Right? All the fucking donkeys think that. That's donkey thinking. So gap up 6.9, 7.1. That's all she wrote. Real quick, in and out. So the reason behind selling so early, and you might be wondering, well, why only 2 ticks, especially on such a nice gap up on such high volume? Ultimately, there was a big pull on 7 cents in the order book. So if you watch the replay, for those of you who have Spark, there was a big pull. I can't remember what it was, 2 mil or 200K. It was a big order. I'm pretty sure it might have been 2 mil. Got pulled, managed to queue out at 7.1 because volumes were still coming in. People were still putting orders in, and that happened as people were processing orders and stuff like that, I guess. So they might not have noticed that. So the second that 7 cent wall got pulled, queue up at 7.1, bam, that's all she wrote. Get the fuck out of there. Otherwise, would have amended it and broke for even if I could. And yeah, happy to get 2 ticks on that one. And I don't think shorting was available for this one, but the same sort of result, 120% increase in resource. That's exactly what the market thinks. 5.5 ended up going up 2 ticks at 5.7. Let that be a lesson for anyone else who reads this kind of resource increase garbage on a small cap or a micro cap company. It means fuck all. If you're BHP and you increase your resources by 120% in one of your major flagship mines, yeah, that's a fucking big deal. Micro cap doesn't mean shit. HZR was another little beauty that I spotted here. We had a horizontal we have, what's the lows for this one? I was looking at 98 and 97, I believe. So horizontal here, and this was a horizontal. Oops, there was another horizontal here. It's basically a range, a horizontal range. I don't recall what the news was. I don't think I actually even read the news. I just saw the fact that it dumped. Came and hit VWAP twice. So by the time I saw this happen, I spotted the stock and sort of kind of trickling down. Came for the retest and I thought, beautiful, short it. Time to short it. I ended up getting at 98 cents and 98.5. So I didn't short at VWAP, which actually would have been ideal, but took what I could get and was really happy with it. Held onto it and I was just waiting for high volume selling, and it took actually quite a while. So we see a sell down into support level, VWAP, fail, and at this point it's like, right, this is dead. A stock that fails to break above VWAP is going to trend down past VWAP. Let's put it this way. How many times have you seen a stock after the first hour of the day drop below VWAP, hit VWAP, bounce, and then recover? How many times has that happened? Right, you can count that on probably your hands for how many times that's happened this year. It doesn't really happen. If something does break through VWAP, you know how many times it just flops? Yeah, probably if you're trading something like ZipPay, there are a couple of stocks out there that love to just like give you the shits and make you think it's a reversal, and then you buy here on the VWAP retest and you're expecting it to go up, but instead it just goes down. Right, there's a couple of stocks out there, big name stocks, that have that habit of not respecting VWAP and kind of just fucking with people. So yeah, so when this hits VWAP and comes back down, this is, for me, this is like 95% conviction. 95% conviction that this is gone. This is just going to tank. You're sitting. Let me read it out to you in another way, from a market perspective, a simple storytelling perspective. A stock has got news. It's sold off. It's bounced on a major support level, but that bounce is super fucking weak. You've gone from 97 cents to $1. That's 3 cents. That's 3%. And it's come back, retested VWAP, which is a major sort of resistance level at this point because it's below the VWAP, so it's a major resistance. And it fails. That in itself, everything that I just described there should be ringing massive fucking red flags for short the shit out of this fucking thing because it's going to make new lows. Now, it's not financial advice. It's just a recommendation to pay fucking attention to the basic technicals that are happening. So I'm a couple of beers in, so I'm getting a little bit unnecessarily aggressive to my own monitor as I'm describing this situation here. But it is what it is. It's a nice setup. Rejection of VWAP, grinding at the lows, major support level. Where's the bounce? Right? If you're thinking, if in your mind, and I know there's a lot of amateurs out there, a lot of newbies to the market, thinking, it's major support, I should buy. Yeah, maybe on the first hit, that makes sense. On a small bounce into a second hit, this thing is fucked. That's the best way to put it. You know what the chances are of this bouncing off here to the upside, breaking through VWAP? Oh my God, single digits at best, right? I'm just pulling that statistic out of my ass, but just the general feel and just obviously acknowledging patterns in the market and how things work, it's just not going to recover. Grinding the lows of major support is just going to flop. So really happy to get out at 93, 98 to 93, 5% gain, roughly 5% gain. So happy with that. Opportunity that was missed. There was a couple of runners in the afternoon here. IFM was one of them. I'm not sure what the news was, not interested in what the news was, but I'm interested in the setup. And the setup really was a rally, and then you basically consolidated. There was a bit too much of a pullback for this to be a pump consolidate, but clearly it would go up, consolidate, go up, range, and then, of course, breakout. And if there's a couple of levels here to pay attention to. It's mostly this one here or either this one here. It doesn't matter which one you prefer to choose. But breaking into new highs on high volume into the afternoon, right at the power of hour, this was 3:30 roughly. So a couple of guys in public Discord I noticed took this trade, spotted the volume, spotted the price action. So that was a nice little, few tick trade there potentially. TLX, this is one I took into close. This was just a short. It was rolling over, right? Just all day long. All day long, looked really nice. I didn't really touch it at all until it peaked, and then it came off, and that's when I started shorting. I mean, I only got a few cents out of it, but hey, just something into the close because I wasn't really doing much in the close. I was like, all right, I'm going to spot an opportunity. Last 15 minutes, there's some price action going on. May as well ride the momentum and just get a few dollary dues out of it. And that's pretty much it. If you found any useful information or you just like the content, please hit that like button. I'd appreciate it a lot. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.